In the heart of a vibrant jungle, where waterfalls sang and flowers bloomed in a riot of color, lived a young elephant named Elara. But Elara wasn't like the other young elephants. While they happily practiced their trumpet calls and played games of strength, Elara was quiet and shy. She had a secret, a beautiful but lonely secret. Every time she felt a strong emotion, tiny, shimmering flowers would sprout from the ground at her feet. When she was happy, bright yellow daisies would appear. When she was sad, delicate bluebells would droop. Elara thought her magic was strange. She worried the other elephants would laugh at her, so she spent her days alone, walking through the quietest parts of the jungle. One day, while watching the other elephants play from behind a large banyan tree, she felt a pang of loneliness so deep that a single perfect white orchid bloomed by her trunk. Just then, a tiny chattering monkey named Kiko swung down from a branch. "Wow, where did that come from?" he chirped, pointing at the orchid with a curious tilt of his head. Elara flinched, trying to hide the flower with her large ear. "It's nothing," she mumbled, her cheeks flushing. But Kiko was not easily deterred. "Nothing? It's the prettiest flower I've ever seen. Can you make another one?" Elara shook her head, feeling anxious. The more anxious she felt, the more thorny vines started to creep up around her feet. Kiko noticed and his cheerful expression softened. "Hey, it's okay," he said gently. "You don't have to be scared. I think your flower power is amazing." Kiko's kind words were like a ray of sunshine. Elara felt a little flutter of warmth in her chest, and a small pink rosebud popped up next to the orchid. Kiko gasped in delight. "See, that one's for feeling happy, isn't it? Let's see. What happens if I tell you a joke?" Kiko proceeded to tell a silly joke about a banana that couldn't stop slipping, and he tumbled backward in a theatrical display. Elara couldn't help it. A giggle escaped her, then another, until she was laughing heartily. All around her, a field of sunny yellow daisies burst into existence, dancing in the gentle breeze. Kiko cheered. "It works! This is the best magic ever." From that day on, Kiko and Elara were inseparable. Kiko would tell her stories of his adventures in the treetops, and Elara would create gardens of emotion for him. Her confidence grew with every flower that bloomed. One afternoon, a terrible dry season fell upon the jungle. The riverbeds turned to dust, the leaves on the trees withered, and all the animals grew weak from thirst. The bright flowers that once dotted the landscape had all vanished. The wise old elephant matriarch, Anya, gathered everyone. "The spring of life, deep in the whispering caves, is our only hope," she announced, her voice heavy with worry. "But the entrance is sealed by ancient lifeless vines. We have never been able to get through." The strongest elephants went to the caves and pushed and pulled, but the thorny dead vines were like iron. Despair began to settle over the jungle. Kiko scampered to Elara's side. "Elara," he whispered, his eyes wide. "Your magic. It's not just about your feelings. It's about bringing life. Maybe you can help." Elara looked at the tired faces of her friends and family. She was scared. What if she failed? But then she looked at Kiko, whose belief in her never wavered. She remembered the joy of creating a field of daisies, the warmth of making a single rose for a friend. Her fear began to melt away, replaced by a surge of determination and love for her home. She walked purposefully towards the whispering caves. The other animals watched, confused. Elara stood before the massive wall of tangled, dead vines. She closed her eyes and thought about her home, the sound of the waterfalls, the taste of sweet mangoes, the feeling of the sun on her back. She thought about the laughter of the other young elephants and the comforting presence of her mother. Most of all, she thought about her friendship with Kiko, a friendship that taught her she wasn't strange, but special. A powerful feeling of love and hope swelled inside her chest, bigger than anything she had ever felt before. It wasn't just her emotion. It was the combined hope of the entire jungle. A soft, golden light started to glow around her. She lifted her trunk and let out a clear, beautiful trumpet call that echoed through the caves. And then, the magic happened. Tiny green shoots began to sprout from the dead vines. They grew at an incredible speed, weaving through the thorns, bursting with life. Bright pink, purple, and orange blossoms exploded open, their sweet fragrance filling the air. The lifeless barrier transformed into a breathtaking archway of living, blooming flowers. The vines themselves seemed to part, revealing the dark opening to the cave. A gasp went through the crowd. From inside the cave, the sound of trickling water could be heard. The spring of life was flowing again. Cheers erupted throughout the jungle. The animals rushed forward, but they paused to let Elara pass. She was no longer the shy, quiet elephant who hid in the shadows. She walked with her head held high, a garland of colorful, magical flowers gently resting on her ears, placed there by a very proud little monkey. Elara had discovered that her true magic wasn't just in making flowers, but in the love and friendship that made them bloom. And that was a power that could save the world. Thank you all so much for joining me for this story today. If you loved Elara and Kiko's adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more magical tales. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.